welcome back to Pop Culture Graveyard. Today, we are finishing up with a bang our Shocktober movie presentations.
Tober. Sorry.
Too late. Dave, did you enjoy this week's movie, the 2020 horror comedy Freaky?
I loved it. It was surprisingly good in several aspects. It was surprisingly good in three different ways.
Bring it. What are those ways?
It was surprisingly good in its inventiveness.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprisingly good in its funniness. And it was surprisingly good in its realistic gore.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't shrink from that.
Yeah, you might have thought that they'd be like, this is light. Like, this is Freaky Friday meets Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to have glass jutting through people's tracheas. Sure we do.
That was one of my favorite kills. I love an inventive kill because I came of age, as I'm sure you did, in the era of Jason and Freddy and all of these, even though you didn't watch a lot of them. Happy Birthday to Me. Sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And you were always like, that was a good kill. That was an inventive kill. I've never seen that kill before.
And more often than not, the inverse, where you're just like, I've seen that kill before.
Standard kill.
Bring me a new kill. So you get jaded very fast in a genre like horror, where there's just so much verisimilitude. But what I really liked about this movie was the kind of Freaky Friday aspect, the switcheroo. It's been done mostly in comedy. You know, there was one where like Fred Savage, when he was a child actor, switches with his dad, who was Judge Reinhold. There was remember that?
Yeah.
There was, of course, Freaky Friday, both iterations where you had
old and new.
Yeah, Jodie Foster in one, Lindsay Lohan in another. Anyway, it's been done a number of times, but this was really great as far as like how forward thinking it was. The characters switch. The characters of Vince Vaughn as the killer, the butcher, who is the antagonist in this, who is kind of half urban legend, half serial killer, and Kathryn Newton, who is this kind of nerdy student, but she's actually gorgeous. In all these horror films, it's kind of a trope.
In the hallway, like, she's unpopular, she's ugly, she's unpopular, she's ugly. It's like, she's a smoking hot girl.
Yeah, she's a leather jacket away from your greatest dream.
Yeah, leather jacket and a scrunchie away from your dream girl.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. When they change bodies, it's really cool in that Vince Vaughn, who I would have thought would go way over the top portraying this teenage girl, kind of pulls back a little on the throttle and is very respectful in his performance.
I kind of got what I expected from Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he doesn't really goof around much. Like when he does like the wedding movies, he's not the goofy one. The other guy's the goofy one, the blonde kid.
The butterscotch stallion, Owen Wilson.
Butterscotch stallion, Owen Wilson. Yeah. But like I just was watching the True Crime Show with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty deadpan guy. And he can be deadpan funny.
Yeah.
And he does some deadpan here. You're right. He doesn't, because there's laughs available in being an over-the-top portrait of a girl.
Yeah.
And he doesn't go for those.
He left some laughs on the table. I really appreciate that. You know,
he
could have gone lowest common denominator and kind of girled out. Well, you know, you mentioned how authentic the horror kills are and the gore. This movie is produced by Jason Blum from Blumhouse.
Is Blumhouse like a famous company that pumps out horror films? Or
yes, like if you've seen any horror in the past 10 years, chances are it was Blumhouse produced.
Like an A24?
Exactly right.
I have to say,
it's ubiquitous.
One of the bulbs went out on my microwave. And every morning around 8:30, I microwave the coffee that has cooled off. And one of the bulbs went out. And now if I happen to microwave it at 8:20, when I walk up to the microwave, it's the bottom line on the 8. So I walk up to the microwave and it says A24, and I always go, ooh, scary.
I was wondering where you were going with the microwave.
Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
know. It's really weird but it is a reference to a film house that puts out horror. So
Yeah.
Bloomhouse?
Yeah. Now that I mentioned it to you, you'll see it all the time.
Mm.
This movie was co-written by Michael Kennedy and Christopher Landon. It was directed by Christopher Landon. And what does that last name remind you of, Dave?
Highway to Heaven.
Exactly right. His father was Michael Landon of Little
Little
House
House on the
and the
Prairie.
Highway to Heaven fame.
Nice.
And it's just a little reminder, no matter how you feel about it, this entire world is just a sandbox for Nepo babies to play in.
It's true. Yeah.
We're all just chasing them.
In some cases, it's just not surprising. In the Landon case, it's not surprising. This is a family just submerged in a life of television.
Yeah.
From early on and just full steam ahead through their entire lives. And it's not surprising. It's not like, oh, he was just handed a ticket. It's like, well, I'm sure he got into it through his dad. Like, but you're right.
In addition to this, he also did Happy Death Day, which is it's kind of a Groundhog Day horror film.
So apply the twist of a non-horror to a horror.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's fun. It's kind of his thing. Yeah. I think even in the title, it's like Freaky Friday and it drops the Friday. They could have called it Freaky Friday the 13th and it would have really painted the full picture.
Friday Freaky would have worked because you could have switched them. Mm-hmm. You could have called it 13th Friday. But they went with a slashery font and freaky and a slash through the middle of it, cutting it in half, 2 parts. Mm-hmm. So I think they did a great job on it. Yeah. I mean, I would head into making that going like, oh, we're golden. This is a great idea. As long as we do it right, this is going to be a hit. Like,
yeah. One of the things I liked about it, because we like when people try new things or introduce cool stuff we haven't seen before. And there have been things like this in other movies and even TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But like, I love the introduction of the ancient dagger, the Ladola. Mm-hmm. And the second when it's used, it was probably AI produced, this whole like Aztec sacrifice mound appears, this temple appears.
For miles, for acres.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get like an aerial shot and suddenly they are in South America.
Yeah.
Like they are in South America 2,000 years ago.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It would have been like a bolt of lightning.
Right.
It wouldn't have been very much.
Right.
And now it can be really whatever they want it to be.
It's amazing what they can do these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that used to be, shots like that used to be precluded because of the budget. Like it was like, oh, it's just a $6 million film. You can't, come on. Bolt of lightning. You go down to the sound effects department, ask them what kind of records they have. Like,
when I first started watching that show, Top Gear, long time ago, you could tell right away one of the reasons why the show did so well was because they had a budget for helicopters. Because you're driving cars on some of the greatest roads on the planet.
Yeah.
And really, the best way to shoot that is from a helicopter. And Top Gear had the money because they had established themselves to do helicopter shots, and they did a lot of them. And then drones. There's no such thing as a helicopter shot anymore. It's just drones. And you and I could go to a Walmart and come out and do drone shots. Like,
isn't it amazing? We just did The Shining not too long ago, and that all those helicopter shots would be drones today.
Yeah, and they would hire a drone guy. It would cost them about the amount that you pay for fuel for a helicopter. Like, it's insane how it simplifies. And I'm not taking away from these drone guys. These drone guys do incredible things.
Right.
And the drones themselves, they make drones that can like carry huge Bolex cameras and stuff.
Mm. It underscores for me just what the world is like today, creatively and otherwise. Everything's never been better. and everything sucks. Like simultaneously. I can't get over it.
Yeah.
It's like this generation, just anything that they do has already been done 100 times. It's the generation that ate itself. It's like this young generation, all of their music is just cannibalizing older music. Like all of their movies are just kind of cannibalizing older movies. And yet, movies like this are still possible, that are just entertaining and fun, and you don't mind it.
Yeah, it's like when you're looking at the internet and 1 minute you're going, "Oh my god, people are the worst." And then so you see somebody put
Then a
together
dog
something
video.
incredibly you see somebody put together something incredibly funny.
Yeah.
Like that purple crayon going, "Purple is the color of many lovely things," and the black crayon comes in and tases him.
Oh,
A lot of people post it as, "This is the black clothes in my closet, taking care of anything
right.
colorful I may have bought."
I've seen
But
that.
you see that and you go, "Oh, people are amazing."
Yeah.
Right after you said people are the worst, you say people are amazing. It happens
Hmm.
all the time. So it's like kind of 50-50. I see guys on TikTok and stuff playing a Dua Lipa song and then playing the song that it sounds like.
Like 6 or 7 Dua Lipa
I was just
songs
about to
that were
say,
all
and
hits.
then they do it with another song, and it's a Dua Lipa song. And then they do it with another song, and it's a Dua Lipa song. And then
Yep.
they do it with another, and I'm like, it's time to write something.
Yeah.
Just one. Just the one. Yeah, and then and I feel like there's very much a like, don't ask permission, just pay the price.
Beg
Like,
forgiveness.
because they're not. It's almost like the music's not the product anymore. It's the popularity. She needs recognition. She need, and she may not be trying to make money off the song. So she makes the song, and In Excess says, "We're taking all that money," and she goes, "Fine." And then she makes another song, and Oasis says, "We're taking all that money," and she goes,
Right.
"Fine," because that's not where she's making her dough. This is a guess, but it may not be where she's making her dough.
Yeah.
I can't imagine she's making money on any of those songs. They're all note for note stolen. Not note for note. I mean, but
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
large portions of note for note stolen.
Well, the hook, the only thing that's making the song popular, is stolen.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It does two
uh,
things. It's using something that's already good, so you know people will like it. Also, it gets your parents to leave it on.
yeah.
Parents, because a lot of parents don't go, "Oh, I know this is Tom Petty." A lot of
Mm.
parents just go, "Oh, kind of like this. Sounds familiar."
I remember when I was DJing in, a lot of places we worked, and when MIA became popular, and I would start playing, usually later in the night, Straight to Hell by The Clash. And people were like, like people would like cheer because they
And then
thought it was going to be
disappointment.
MIA. And then the lyrics would cut in and it's Joe Strummer,
Imagine being disappointed
right?
instead of ecstatic. That's
At,
so
at
funny.
one of the Clash's greatest songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was that kid. I didn't, but I could tell a story right now, which I would be making up, but I could easily have walked up to a DJ and said, "I like Higher Ground. Do you have the one by the Chili Peppers? Like, is this a
Yeah.
cover? Do you have the
Yeah.
Chili Peppers one?" Like,
Yeah.
that could have been me. I thought
Wow.
Higher Ground was a Chili Peppers song. And
Well, because it's different, because they
I,
did something with it
yeah,
in
that's
their
true.
cover. Let's be
I heard
honest.
it I heard it 10, 15, 20 times before I heard the real one. And
Mm.
now, I mean, the real one's at a huge disadvantage at that point, right?
Yeah. It's
So
not
I'm
as,
kind of partial.
yeah.
Yeah. It kind of, it was kind of a
Hmm.
lesser impact. And
Right.
it's unfair to Stevie, but it's all right. I mean, he's got songs in the key of life. He's not worried about me.
You think we'll ever meet Stevie? One of these
One of
days,
these
B.
days, B. Mm.
So freaky.
Oh, what's that? A movie?
It is a movie. It's not like us to go angry old white man,
Mm.
but
Oh,
yeah,
I
there are
guess we
times.
dipped our toe in it there. Yeah. Speaking of
Yeah.
angry old white men, um, as much as I want to say Vince Vaughn stole the show with his young lady in a 6'4" male body,
Hmm.
his running,
Yeah.
his running is so good.
It's
Uh,
great. It's great.
it's Yeah,
He does
but
again, he doesn't overdo it.
it
He
doesn't
keeps
overdo it, just a little bit, just a little bit, yep,
yeah, it's
and,
great.
but she has the less
Ca
exciting job.
Kathryn Newton, who
Kathryn Newton has there's less places for her to go. She goes to the places where you can go.
yeah,
She may have, it looks like maybe she watched the Friday the 13th and Halloween and stuff and picked up some mannerisms from Michael and the hockey guy,
Jason.
Jason. And she does the head tilt at her handiwork.
Mhm. Yeah, I
She
thought of
looks,
the Michael
yep.
Myers
She does the Michael Myers, look what I've done.
because he
Um,
does it earlier in the movie.
yeah, oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
After he impales a girl on a spear.
Oh, yes.
So it's really a callback, which is great.
Call it could be, yeah, so it's a double thing. It's kind of a callback
Yeah.
and an homage.
Dave, there's one thing talking about her and how great she embodies him. When she first wakes up, or he first wakes up in her body,
Mm,
she plays it great. She sees all the like boy band pictures or whatever they've got on, like there's Panic at the Disco, and she's like, what? And then the mother, and she comes down. When she gets in the kitchen and her mother kind of tries to steer her towards the table, she's so heavy in her body.
mhm,
It's great. It's like she still has the same countenance as him and
mhm.
still heavy body.
Yeah, there's some
Um,
really nice physical stuff. I have to agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
really
subtle.
well done. Yeah, and but she's a psycho. She's inhabited by a psychopath, by a like immovable, like a Michael Myers or a Jason. So there's this like, it's almost like non-acting. It's like, the less acting you're doing, the better. It's it's
Yeah,
so it's she doesn't have as much room to impress you with being this psycho killer in a person's body. Um,
right.
like you could pin it on her like, oh, Vince Vaughn is an accomplished actor. Has a lot more experience. It's like, no, he has a lot more room to stretch out in that role. Um,
hmm
he gets to make out with the guy. What's
What a
I
great
was
scene.
Wow, so cool, man. That was so cool that they took it that far.
Yeah.
I loved it. I
And
loved it.
how great is that character of Booker that he like sees beyond, that he
Yeah.
knows she's in there and that he's still not anything by the body. And it's him who has the impetus, who is like, it'd be crazy right now if I wanted to kiss you or whatever. Like,
She even tries to discourage. She's like, "You'd be kissing a 35-year-old man with yellow teeth,
yeah.
or a 50-year-old man with yellow teeth." I don't
Yeah.
remember what she said. Um, and it's funny, we're saying she. That scene in the car, Vince Vaughn is so convincing that you're like, "Oh, that's not her."
Yeah,
Like,
he's good.
he's really good. Yeah. And that kid is just a fantastical version of a good kid.
He's a dream kid. He really
Yeah,
is.
he's
He's like
perfect.
somehow an athlete on the team with those assholes, and it hasn't
Mhm.
affected who he is.
Yeah.
I just want to point out Kathryn Newton was in another horror film made this year that I absolutely loved, Lisa Frankenstein. It was written by Diablo Cody, who I love, who wrote Juno, who wrote
Okay.
Jennifer's Body, who's just a great writer. Anyway, I highly recommend it. As the title suggests, she brings a guy back to life and hijinks ensue. So it's
Oh,
very
so it's not about Lisa Frankenstein, it's about Lisa Frankenstein's monster. I'm
exactly.
making
I know. No,
Okay.
we're both driven insane by people who call the monster Frankenstein. It's not. She's Lisa Frankenstein, as in Baron von Frankenstein,
Frankenstein, for
or
that matter.
Frankenstein. So anyway, yeah, she's amazing.
So okay, I'm gonna as her agent, I'm going to advise her not to do a third horror movie.
Yeah, she may have already. I mean, she's so damn good.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you can definitely end up like, that's what you do, and that's it.
right. Well, I mean, that's who Jamie Lee Curtis was outside of Trading Places until Arnold put her in True Lies, or James Cameron put her in True Lies, and then her whole career changed, really.
But Trading Places, True Lies, I mean, these are not small departures from horror. These are And how many horror films was she in before those? Was she in 10?
Probably 10 to
Oh,
12.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I would have advised her not to do those, and
Yeah.
I would have destroyed her career.
Yeah, you would have.
Talk about the sidekicks.
For two old woke dudes like us, how great was having Nyla and Josh as her best friends?
I feel like they were kids from Booksmart. I feel like they were a
Yeah,
couple of kids from Booksmart.
totally.
You know? Yeah, I love them. And it was
Yeah.
so nice not to have your standard friends. I mean, you could say in 2024 those are the standard friends, in because so many people are giving real people a chance. But for us, who grew up with almost always the friends were just like the person.
Yeah, there was
Um,
zero alternative representation in
yeah,
all the
yeah.
things we grew up watching. Like,
And they make direct reference to it when they're running from the killer.
mm-hmm.
He says, "I'm gay, you're black, we're dead.
Yeah.
Like we always die in these
Yeah.
movies."
When I was a kid, like all my friends were black, and I was routinely watching movies. They wanted me to identify with a character, and every one of their friends was white. I
Mhm.
could not relate at all. And how great was it having her best friends be a black girl and a gay boy, and all three of these characters tell each other they love each other when they're saying goodbye to each other,
Mhm.
just in the
Yeah.
course of the day. Like, no big deal. Just, it's the best relationships present at that school.
The beauty of their trio is very enjoyable, first of all. They're a great little trio of friends. They're three, somewhat outcast, even though they're all three of them are gorgeous, whatever. But they're somewhat outcasts. They're just not buying into the jock thing. They're not buying into the homecoming thing. I could totally relate to that. But that trio, it becomes important to the plot because when Vince Vaughn gets in and is playing the third in the
Yeah,
trio feels the same.
good point.
And that, like, it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, it really does seem like he really seems like her. It's like, but can the trio be the same? It's like, yeah, we made the trio the same, which is, it just adds to the convincingness of this body swap.
Yeah, the energy is the same and the relationships within are the same.
Whose
Yeah,
idea do you think that for Vince Vaughn to squeeze his own boobs? Or
Vince
for,
Vaughn, totally, probably.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
It's
but
funny because,
again, not overdoing it, just almost like a "what the fuck" kind of
yeah,
thing.
like he's looking in the mirror, he's looking at his body, and I almost thought to myself, like, that guy, if he doesn't grab his own boobs, then I'm going to call a foul.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's almost like you're looking at someone else.
you're checking if you're real too, and you're like, might as well
Yeah,
check right here. Might as well
yeah.
start here. It's funny.
And the
It's
way
like,
that they play with them being in each other's bodies, like Millie as the Blissfield Butcher, when she attacks someone, she attacks them still with her brain thinking she's in a massive body that can do certain things. And so she has to put up with a deficit muscle wise and physicality
her
wise that
first
she's not used to.
and her first few attacks are way overconfident,
Yeah. And she
which is,
gets a bit of a beating.
yeah, she does. She gets thrown because she even makes a crack about it sometimes, like a pitiful body or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
And
yeah,
and conversely, when Millie's in the Blissfield Butcher body, uh, she's like, "Wow, I'm strong." Like
she
at one
starts
point,
off
she
tentative.
throws people. Yeah.
Yeah, her first attacks are tentative. Her
Hmm.
her first defensive moves or whatever are, "Oh, don't hurt me," and, "Hey, I got some weight behind me."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, imagine overnight, now you're 6'4", 210, and, they both portrayed that really well.
Yeah.
There's, there's been a sketch released of the butcher, so the entire town knows what he looks like, and he's 6'4", and he's basically dressed like a serial killer, black on black.
It's kind of a joke because sketch artist stuff is never that
Yeah.
identical to the person. It's
Yeah,
just,
you would have said to the person, to the sketch artist, like, "It looks too much like Vince Vaughn." Um,
yeah.
but, so they get him a Halloween mask. I think it's a Reagan mask.
It's
Pro
actually Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that's
the
right. It's an
quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers mask. Oh, that is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she's coming out of the store in it, and she's like, "I can't see shit. How do killers do this?" It's a great line.
It really is. You
Yeah.
know, what's funny is the way they're playing it. Millie's mom, she gets drunk every night on Chardonnay, and
Swan song.
yeah, Swan Song
That's what.
Chardonnay,
Yeah.
and her elder daughter is named
Char.
Char. For a while, I was like, did she name her after Chardonnay? But it's actually at one point she says like Charlotte or whatever. But I was just like, that'd be
Charlene.
the
Yeah.
ultimate. I'm a drunk.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's such a nice, it's such a light portrayal of the alcoholic mother.
Yeah.
It's like, my mom's an alcoholic. What does that mean? She sleeps a lot.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty
It's pretty
benign.
much the alcoholic that her mother is a sleeping alcoholic, which is,
Yeah.
what you hope for. Is that Cameron? Is Ferris Bueller's Day Off Cameron?
Oh, yes, it is. That's the shop teacher. Yeah, he's such a dick. He is one of the most satisfying kills in this movie. Him and the jocks.
Speaking of satisfying kills, I'm not going to mention one. What I'm going to say is, the movie started, and I hate watching people be mean to someone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I understand it has a purpose and stuff, but jocks were being mean to her. This teacher was being mean to her. And it didn't bother me as much as it normally did, because I was like, ooh, all these people are gonna die. That's nice. It kind of relieves the tension for me.
It's almost the opposite of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood tension for you, where you're just like, oh, you know what? I have that to look forward to. All of the
Exactly. Yeah, it really is. It was like an anti Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was like, I was like, ooh, these people are gonna die. I can't wait. I
Oh,
can't
man.
wait.
I have a couple of taglines queued up here.
I will say before you start, I haven't seen any, and there better be some good ones, because I feel like it's a target-rich environment. I say without having any of my own, but
yeah, it's true. One is a body swap that cuts deep.
yeah, it's medium length, covers the bases.
Yeah,
I'm not over the moon for it.
Feels a little lazy. Another one is basic switch, killer new look. I guess it's, fashion forward tagline.
It kind of plays also on the fact that when Vince Vaughn, who is inhabited by Millie, sees her inhabited by the killer, and so there he is. Ooh, what am I wearing?
Yeah, that is good.
That. Yeah. So it kind of plays on that, new look.
Yeah. There is another one that's just, it puzzles me. The name of the film is Freaky. And then the tagline is quotes, freaky, close quotes. Almost self-reference and just commenting on it. Freaky, freaky. I don't get it.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's actually another one that I find equally puzzling. Friday the 13th of November. I guess October gets all the pub, but Friday the 13th of November is kind of like, it's got that Saturday the 14th kind of joke.
Right. Yeah.
But,
Saturday
I
the
don't know.
14th.
I feel like it deserves better than any of those.
Was Saturday the 14th like an airplane version of, was that like a ha funny Friday the 13th?
Yeah. It was an over the top kind of kid friendly comedy. I feel like there's something you could do with like either the phrase bait and switch or something. Like there's got to be something. There's a better tagline out there, as we're always saying, that I feel like, they were 5 minutes away and they just said, screw it.
The old bait and slash.
There it is.
I mean, right?
Bait and slash. Although then you lose switch, which is more descriptive of the film itself.
Yeah, that's why I put the ol on the front, because I'm trying to drive home that it's going to be the old bait and
right.
And then we changed it to
Bait and slash. Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, but it's only going to work on people like 48 and up. It's like, buy that man a cheroot.
Yeah, as does our podcast.
Right. We never mentioned Ryler. I mean, what's up with the cryogenic chamber? What is that?
All I could think was that it existed for like the football team to do something.
Is that some kind of sports?
If you're sending it to a school, why would you make it have that extreme that it could ever be reached? Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a thread that doesn't need pulling, but it's a strange thing.
Yeah.
My guess, you know what I'm betting? I'm betting that most high school kids in the 2000s are like, yeah, we have one of those.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Who knows? Yeah.
Like, don't they spend like most of their money on football now?
Right.
Like high schools, colleges, universities.
Yeah.
They all spend most of their money on football.
Right. Maybe in closing, we can just hammer home the satisfying death of Alan Ruck, who was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, who was in Spin City. He gets what he deserves, but it's kind of crazy. Like the way he's portrayed, I'm like, no teacher, no one in a sense of authority is that mean to any one student, let alone like he sucks the quarterback's dick kind of, and then he's so mean to her.
The film's efforts to make him unlikable are relentless.
Yeah, they're very over the top.
It's over the top. And once he's defending himself from a killer, they double down on how shitty he is because he's enjoying fighting back way too much.
Yeah.
And he appears to be getting a little hot and bothered about it.
Yeah.
So all of that works really well for her to get him up on the table saw. Hell of a table saw that thing is for like cutting logs in half.
Again, like I mean,
this high school is just outfitted
with cryogenic. I mean,
the best equipment in the NFL and lumber sports. This high school has everything.
They really do. Oh, I don't know what they're preparing these children for, but it's not a world we inhabit.
Yeah, it's the log cabin football, man. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's going to be huge after the apocalypse.
Let's end it there.
Okay, let's end it there.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Hollis.
I'm going to hop back in my cryogenic chamber.
Hollis and Dave would like to thank you for enjoying Pop Culture Graveyard.